Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. It's Memorial Day, and I finally got back to the house after a nice little holiday. And we got some more spoilers from Modern Horizons 3. And we got actually quite a few this time, so this will be pretty sweet. We'll run through them real quick. Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe button. It's right over here, right over here. Subscription's free. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll start giving some stuff away. It's going to be a good time for everybody involved. Links in the description, as always, to help support the channel by buying the cards you like from the box opening series, which will be on sale in those links. So, let's run it back. We've got the Decree of Justice, 2 white and 2 and XX. Create X, 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying. It also has cycling, a white and 2. Whenever you cycle Decree of Justice, you may pay X. If you do, create X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Not bad, I guess. I mean, this is fine for, limited, maybe commander, but honestly, 6 mana for a 1/4/4 flying angel? And 4 mana to cycle it to get 1 token and draw a card. I mean, I guess. It's an uncommon. What do you want from life? Moving on. Next, we have Savine's Reclamation. That's right. We got another reprint here from other Modern Horizons. It's a white and 2. Return target permanent card. Mana value 3 or less per graveyard of the battlefield if it was cast from the graveyard. Or if this card's cast from the graveyard, you may copy this spell and choose new targets. It flashes back for a white and 4. Very popular card. Seen a little bit of play there for a little while. So, why not reprint it? Because God forbid it gets over $1. Anyway, moving on. Now we have the Spring Heart Nantuko. A green and 1 for a 1/1 enchantment creature. Bestow 1. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has the ability of landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay a colorless and a green. If Springfield Nantuko is attached to a creature you control, if you do, create a non-token that's a copy of that creature. Create a token that's a copy of that creature. If you didn't create a token this way, create a 1/1 green insect creature token instead. So, very interesting. You may pay a green to colorless if it's attached to a creature you control. If you do, you get a copy of that creature. If you didn't create a token this way, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. So for me, it kind of reads that if you don't want to pay the mana, you just get a 1/1 insect every time you lay a land. That's what I'm seeing. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, very powerful. Has Bestow, the ability to copy creatures. Like, this is going to be pretty sweet. In a lot of formats, probably. Especially Commander. Oh boy, the shenanigans. All right, next we have the Colossal Dread Mask. 2 green and 4 for a living artifact, living weapon, artifact equipment, yada yada. So you get a 0/0 Phyrexian Germ, but when it comes into play, it gets +6/+6 and trample. Equips for 5. So 6 mana, 6/6, equipped something else to give it 6/6 and trample. This is going to be an all-star. You hear me? All-star in limited. If you're playing green in some form of limited format, you best be drafting this monstrosity because it's going to be house. Big green. So, next we have the Party Thrasher. Red and 1 for a 1/4 non-creature spells you cast from exile have Convoke. That's already really amazing because technically your commander's in exile, which means I guess nothing that says non-creature spells. However, if you're using a Planeswalker as your commander, you can convoke your Planeswalker out. Interesting, right? So, kind of really cool. But also, there's plenty of ways to exile cards and cast them for free with this. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard a card. If you do, exile top 2 cards of your library, then choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. Again, exile cards, playing with Convoke, like a 2 mana 1/4. This is doing some things. I could be very popular in Commander. This may be good in Modern. I mean, it's only 2 mana. It's only a 1/4. But the ability to just mill 2 cards off top of your deck and play one of them in like a red rush deck, so you can just keep flipping over cards from the top, so you can just keep bolting or whatever. It seems really powerful. So, who knows? This might see some extra play. Moving on, Vexing Bauble. This thing is going to be in a lot of sideboards, if not mainboarded. It's a 1 colorless. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, you get to counter the spell. So no free casting, no plotting, none of that stuff. And worst case scenario, for another 1 colorless and tapping it, you can sacrifice it, draw a card. This will stop a lot of weird combos in not just Commander, especially Modern and some of the other formats. So I expect this to see a little play in the older formats. And if you can get you a foil one, I would definitely suggest hanging on to it, as I have a feeling this one might be expensive. Next, we have the Bogart Trawler. This is one of the very first cards we saw like this. And, as I mentioned when we first saw it, when it was leaked, not spoiled, enters the battlefield, exile a graveyard. That's really good. It has the ability to come into play and tap for a black, 3 life for it to come into play untapped, or you can put it in the battlefield tapped. Another good creature ability, so you can have either a land or a 3/1 that's going to beat face with the ability to exile a graveyard if you need to. Just these cards seem really good. We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, I like them. Next, we have Utter Insignificance. I really like how the dude's just sitting there and looks like Ulamog. It's like Ulamog's in the background, just not giving 2 dams. Anyway. Blue and a colorless flash enchant creature. Enchant creature loses all abilities and has base power toughness 1/1 for a wasteland mana, and 2, you can exile enchanted creature. This is a pretty good removal spell for blue. It's going to be great and limited just because of what it does, and the ability to actually exile the creature if push comes to shove. Also great, and it does have flash. This is probably going to be one of the better removal spells inside limited. Just putting that out there. So next we have the Eldrazi Linebreaker. This is the ugly drawing. It's a red, a waste mana, and a colorless for a 3/3 Devoid Trampler. So it's okay. Beginning combat on your turn, target creature you control gains haste and gets +X/+O until the end of turn, where X is the number of Eldrazi's you control, which with this on the battlefield is at least 1. This is a little better than the Werewolf from Midnight Hunt, because it's a 3/3, and because it's an Eldrazi, it will always be +1/+O, so this can come in as a 4/3 with haste. The drawback is you need red and waste mana, so it kind of makes up for that. But if you're running an Eldrazi deck, this can get ugly quick. You cast Ulamog for some god-awful reason, suddenly give it haste and swing with it. Sweet Jesus. I think this is going to see some play in limited and maybe even some commander formats. Next, we have Deem Inferior, a blue and 3 sorcery. It costs 1 less to cast for each card you've drawn this turn. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it in their library, second from the top or bottom. So not the best as far as the sorcery goes, but it does target a non-land permanent, and since you draw 1 card every turn, it's only 3 mana, which is not terrible. If you happen to draw more cards, it can be real cheap. If you happen to brainstorm, this thing costs 1. And in some things that are storm-style decks or what have you, that may be a thing. I think it's got some potential, but I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of play with it. Next, we have Ral and the Implicit Maze. This ought to be interesting. 2 red and 3 for this saga. At 1, Ral and the Implicit Maze deals 2 damage to each creature and planeswalker your opponent controls. It's okay. On 2, you may discard a card. If you do, exile top 2 cards of your library. You may play them until the end of your next turn. And 3, create a Spellgorger Weird token. It's a red and 2/2 weird creature with whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. This is honestly just bad. But it's going to be probably fine in Commander and Limited. It's kind of cool for what it does, so I'm not going to knock it too far. But this is not going to be anything to write home about. Next, we have Gravedigg. Very interesting. It's a black and 1. Choose 1. Target player creates a 2/2 black zombie creature token, or return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and it has Entwine. So basically, this is a non-creature Gravedigger that you can cast early and cheaper if you just need a zombie token or to pick something up for whatever. I like this. I like this a lot. I do like how it's a picture of Gravedigger. Well, not really, but kind of, sort of. I like this card. Even as a common, I think this is going to be huge. This is probably going to see some popper play. I'm not even going to lie to you. This looks good. I mean, a 2/2 zombie token on turn 2 is just fine. Getting cards back from the graveyard plus making zombies on turn 4 if you have 4 mana is even better. So next we have the Furnace Hellkite. 2 red and 5 for a 5/5 affinity for artifacts flying. And for 1 red, it gets +1/+0. This thing's amazing. Again, another card that may see some affinity play. I mean, maybe not because it's a 2 red starter. But Commander, Sealed, Limited Styles, definitely a thing. And to be fair, you're not really going to rule this out of Affinity, because there are Affinity decks that do play red. So, I mean, it's possible. We'll see. Next, we have the Amphibian Downpour, blue and 2 enchantment aura with Flash. It also has Storm. Boy, I haven't seen that in a while. We talked about this one before already. It was leaked early. It's an enchant creature spell. The enchanted creature loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog, base power 1/1. Storm means you get to copy this. So if you cast 2 or 3 spells, if you cast 2 spells, then cast this, you get 3 enchantments. So you can neuter 3 creatures. Blue's got a lot of good removal like this that makes things 1/1s and lose all their abilities. Blue might be a very, very powerhouse deck in Limited and Draft, with all these really good blue spells that act as removal. Next, we have Idol of the False Gods. 2 colorless Kindred Artifact Eldrazi. So for a waste mana and 1 tap, you get to make an Eldrazi, which obviously is an 0/1 tap stacks for mana. Whenever another Eldrazi you control dies, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on the Idol. Interesting. As long as Idol of the False Gods has 8 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it's a 0/0 creature in addition to its other types, and it has Annihilator 2. So it becomes Ulamog. Jesus. But it's an 8/8. Oh, excuse me. This is going to be a powerhouse. It's going to be a Commander All-Star. I don't think it's going to see a whole lot of play in any other format. But for Commander, I mean, it's ramp, a colorless form of ramp. You can put it in any deck. Plus, if by some stretch of the imagination this thing becomes an 8/8 with Annihilator 2, sweet Jesus, look out. Shit will go south quick. Moving on. Next, we have Consuming Corruption, 2 black instant. It deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X, and you gain X life, where X is the number of swamps you control. This is insane. Mono black decks. Oh god, why couldn't we get this in standard? Why? Because it'd be banned. That's why. You guys remember Coercion back in the day? Not Coercion, I'm sorry. I forget what it is, but it's a black spell. It's like 6 mana or something. It deals damage equal to the number of swamps you have. You gain that much life. It does it to any target. Yeah. This is that. The only downside of this one is it doesn't target players. But a 2 black instant removal spell that works off of swamps, not a bad thing. And let's be fair, I mean, if you have a Stuffy Doll out and you Consuming Corruption it doesn't have to target the player. The Stuffy Doll will do that. But anyway, moving on. Next, we have Junk Diver reprint. 3 colorless for the 1/1. When it dies, return another artifact from your graveyard to your hand. It is what it is for limited. Good old Junk Diver. Then we have the Creation of Avacyn. That's pretty cool. 2 black and 1. Saga with 3 parts. First part, search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. Turn the exile card face up. If it's a creature card, you lose life equal to its mana value. Turn the exile card face up. Okay. And then on 3, you may put the exiled card on the battlefield if it's a creature card. If you don't put it on the battlefield, put it into its owner's hand. So this is really good. I mean, it takes 3 turns to get the card. But you can draw a card straight to your hand, or just get a creature to put on the battlefield and just scare the hell out of your opponent. I mean, either way, this is going to be a great card to use. I'm going to play this in my Commander deck for sure. And there's also ways you can proliferate and run the clock up on this faster than you want. So, yeah. I think this is going to be a lot better than what people are giving this card credit for. Just going to put that out there. Next, we have the Static Prison. 1 white enchantment. Enters the battlefield. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls. Until it leaves battlefield, you gain 2 energy. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, sacrifice Static Prison unless you pay 1 energy. So, this is kind of cool. I like this because it's white. It gives you energy. And I know everybody's like, oh, but when you pay energy or it goes away. Well, I mean, if someone's made a token, like, you could put this on the battlefield, exile the token, which means it doesn't come back. It's just gone. And then just sacrifice this damn thing. There you go. Mission accomplished. So, yeah. For 1 white, does it to anything. This is going to be a powerhouse. I think this card has lots of possibility. Lots. Next, we have Consigned to Memory. A 1 blue instant that has Replicate 1, which means when you cast this spell, copy it for each time you pay the replicate cost, which is 1 colorless. So any color mana starts for blue, and then 1 mana after it. Counter target triggered ability or colorless spell. That is insanely good. This will be a very expensive card in foil for several reasons. 1, it stops triggered abilities and other shenanigans for 1 blue. 2, it stops Eldrazi's, but it also stops affinity decks. Any other thing that's cuddle, there's lots of cuddleless shenanigans going on out there that for 1 blue, this can just put a stop to. And because of Replicate, you can get several things at once. So, like, you know, for example, I cast my Ulamog, trigger my cast ability to exile 2 of your things. Cool. For a blue and 1, I'm going to consign to memory. I'm going to counter your colorless spell and then counter the triggered ability for 2 mana. Nice way to spend 11 mana, homie. Like, this is huge. And there's lots of things this can do that too. So, this is going to be a powerhouse, and at uncommon, this may be the very next remand as far as pricing goes. Because I'm sure you guys don't remember this, but I do when remand was like $20. Jesus. This is going to be a great card. So, all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I do appreciate it. Until next time, be kind. And remember, I hope to see you across from the game table. You best not be playing Eldrazi.